Have you ever read an entire chapter of scripture only to get to the end and realize you don't remember a thing you just read? So, the next few episodes that I'm going to do, I want to focus on methods of how to actually study your scriptures in a way that brings you closer to God. So, the first four episodes that I've done, I focused on why I started scripture journaling and the tools that I use. And that was so much fun. And it is so much fun to talk about. But this is actually even funner for me because this is where you get down to what's really important, which is actually studying in a way that works best for you and that really brings meaning into your life and helps answer your prayers. So, I'm going to be doing 5 videos about 5 different methods that I have used, and I've learned them one at a time over the course of 10 years of scripture journaling. But these are the 5 that have worked the best for me and that I love the most. And here's a little teaser: the very last one is my favorite. And it's the one that I have used the most, and I will probably always use the rest of my life. So stay tuned for the very last one. So, today I'm talking about method 1. It's the simplest. It's called the one word method. You think you know what I'm going to talk about, but just stay along for the ride, okay? Sometimes I tell myself that having ADHD can be a disadvantage, but in your case this might be an advantage because I've tried so many things from being bored. Now I have found really awesome tools that have helped me, and I hope they'll help you too. So, number 1, the one word method is what it sounds like. It's one word out of the scriptures. And I know you're thinking, how in the heck is one word going to impact me for the day? One word in the entire Bible, and it's somehow going to change my life? Yeah, it is. I mean, it did for me. Just saying. But this is how I do the one word method. Have you ever read a verse of scripture and one word stood out to you? Just one word. And you thought to yourself, that one word speaks to me. But then you move on and you keep reading because, of course, you want to finish the chapter, right? I made a goal. I'm going to read one chapter a day of the Bible so that I can be done by 2033. Okay, just stop. Stop doing this. This is not helping you. Just start reading. And then as you're reading, just pay attention to all the words. And when you come across a verse, and the verse may have nothing, like the historical context of the verse may have nothing to do with your life, do not pay attention to that, because God is creative. He will speak to you in fun ways, but just pay attention to those words. And when you come across a word that feels powerful or feels like this is something I need to write down, listen to that voice and write it down. Then, after you write the word down, this is what I usually do. After I write that one word down, then I will usually go and I will search the scriptures for wherever I can find that word again. Because what happens is you will start to search for that word, and it's the easiest is if you're on like a digital device and you can just search that way, like in the Bible app, or if you use another app for your scriptures. I use the Gospel Library app, but just search that word and then just start going through all the scriptures that pop up that have that word in it. And you will find that some of them you don't relate to, and you're like, and then there'll be one you'll be like, I like that. And then what you do is you write that in your journal next to the word. Now, I like to take the word and put it like in really bold letters in the middle of my journal page, or at the top or the side, or just somewhere where it really stands out. And then everything else I find that's connected to that word, I will write off to the side, up above, down below, and then sometimes I will write my thoughts about what I find next to that. But Don't think that there's any rules or a certain way that you have to do anything. Just go crazy. Just write it down. Just pretend like you are brain dumping Bible brain dumping. And just let it flow. And you'll find that the more you search things up, you'll find one scripture that's really powerful, and then in that scripture will be something else that stands out to you, and that will lead to another verse, and before you know it, you have an entire page that not only has that one word on it that stood out to you for the day, but has thoughts that came to you while you were studying about that word, other scriptures that have powerful meaning to you, and by the time you're done, you'll have a page that you can now look back on for years to come that tells you why that word was special to you that day. And you'll come away with more power because you didn't just read that verse, you digested it, you feasted on it. No snacking, no wheat thins and cheese sticks. We are having roast and potatoes and gravy and cherry cobbler. Okay? You want the whole feast. But in order to do that, let's slow down. Another way you can study one word is you can look up the definition. And I know that sounds silly because you might be thinking, I already know what this word means. Oh, you may not. There might be a meaning to that word that stands out more to you than another. I've found lots of words in my scripture study that I have then gone and looked up online. What's the different meanings of this word? And as I wrote them down, different meanings of the word had a different impact on me. So that's a great way to study one word. Look up the definition. What does that word really mean? And then what does it mean to you? Here are just some examples of one word that you could study that would be really powerful. Peace, remember, come, light, trust, grace, abide, hear. Can you just feel the power as I'm just saying those words? Isn't it so cool how one word can have so much power, and yet it's so simple? Everyone can do this. It's so simple. Another great way to study one word is to find a beautiful picture that goes with that word, because tying a picture to a word will help you remember it more because you have now made it visual. So that is really powerful as well. And don't limit yourself to just scriptures. This whole experience that you're having with your scripture journal and with God, it's uplifting. And so I have found it's also really beneficial to find quotes from inspiring people who I trust and write those down in these pages. You might have a word and you're writing down scriptures and it just doesn't feel like enough. You need more. Go online and find that word and find a really powerful quote from someone that resonates with you and add that quote to your page. Okay, I'm going to try to really quickly share with you a personal experience of how one word changed my life and my scripture study. There was a point in my life when I was very depressed. I was overwhelmed, completely overwhelmed, more than overwhelmed. I was having nervous breakdowns from how stressed I was as a mother. I had 5 children. The youngest was a baby. I was 40 years old, so perimenopause, yes. And I was homeschooling. I talked a little bit about this in my first video, but I was dealing with what I like to call depletion depression. So it wasn't like I couldn't feel joy, or it wasn't like I was sad all the time. It was just that I was so depleted and so overwhelmed that I couldn't function, to the point where I was so depressed and so run down that I remember one day I was in the shower and just letting the water pour over me and crying in the shower, because that's what we do as mothers, right? We cry in the shower because no one can hear us, and then the water just washes it all down the drain. And I was just in such a low place that the only thing I could think of was my children would be better off without me. I mean, it wasn't that I wanted to take my life, but I was in such a low place that I wished that it would end. Because in my mind, I thought my children would be better off without me because I can't even function. I don't even know how to go one more day. It was a very dark place. And I remember even reading my scriptures and studying them and writing things down, like I felt like nothing was working. And so there was one morning where I was so desperate for something that I woke up and I pulled out my big journal, because at this time I was using one of the big ones. And the thought that came was light. And I thought, yes, I feel like I'm in such a dark place. I just need light. And so I wrote in the middle of the page, light, in big letters. And then I'm telling you, I probably studied for 2 hours. I woke up really early, so I was up before all my kids. That tells you how early I was up. And I just started studying everything I could about light. And I wrote everything down. And it was a very powerful experience, because not only did I learn a ton and find some amazing words and scriptures and quotes, but I came away from that experience with hope. Now, was I magically cured and I'm like suddenly Supermom again and all happy? No, I wasn't. That was just one day out of a lot of hard days, and I had a long road ahead of me. But it was one morning, one study session, one word that gave me enough energy and enough hope to get through one more day. If you can get enough hope to get through one more day, then you can wake up the next day and you can get through another day. But sometimes that's all you can do is one verse, one day, and that's okay. And I share that and I'm vulnerable because I know I'm not the only one. I know there are plenty of people out there, especially mothers and women, who are struggling with feeling overwhelmed. Like, can you not add one more thing to my plate? If I juggle one more thing, everything's gonna crash. Oh wait, it already is. So if you're in that place, just recognize it's okay. It's okay. One day at a time. If you have really enjoyed this, then please join me for my next video, where we'll be talking about how powerful it is to just focus on one verse and how I do that.
Download my free printable to guide your study of one word today.